Now on the wheel cap here, I'm going to go in and create something relatively simple. I'm just going to create a chrome shader for it. So I'll open up my material editor, go over here to an empty slot. I'll call this chrome and assign it. And it's not going to look any different, so I need to do something to it. So a chrome shader, the diffuse goes black, and specular level goes up high, and glossiness goes down low. Specular level, right here, this little graph will give you an idea of what the specular highlight looks like. So it's dark, 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 dark. Peaks very bright. Peaks, drops off, dark, dark, dark. So that's the spec highlight as is drawn here. Now if I take glossiness, specular level all the way up, it'll peak it there, but I can go beyond 100 and it'll cap it. So that makes a nice way to do like a glossy reflective metal that has highlights that are crisp, is by cranking spec level past 100. And then I go in and I'm going to add a reflection map to this. So I'm going to add this as a bitmap. And you can use all kinds of bitmaps as a reflection map. This is a very common one, this Lake 3, I think comes with 3D Studio. You can use it. I'm going to use it right now as a generic one, but if we do all formats here, there's also another one which, here, this yellow terrain, that's a good one. It'll be like we're on Mars. If you use that as a reflection map, you get this. Now, this Lake 3 one is a good generic bitmap, even though the yellow terrain is a true full unwrap, or more like it anyway. This Lake 3 is just a picture, so it's not a true unwrap, so it doesn't give the most accurate reflections, but it's kind of nice because it does give a little bit of color into reflections, and it does look very chromy when you put it on stuff. Now this may not work as I take this trailer and put it into a scene, because the scene might not have anything to do with this. It might not be mountains and a lake and a sky that looks like that. It might be blue. It might be green or pink or whatever the sky is. It might not have anything to do with that. So I could change the reflection map out later on. It's fine, but it's good to get a placeholder on there at the very least right now. When you get it into a scene, you can go ahead and change it out. So I put the reflection map on there. Now it's important that, well, if you use a reflection map, if you map something to reflection, 3D Studio will automatically choose environment for you as opposed to texture. You don't want to choose texture, because if you rotate this around, now that environment is stamped onto the object, and as this wheel turns, the horizon of the environment is going to spin around along with the wheel, and you don't want that. So that's where this special mapping type of environment comes in handy. And what that'll do is it'll map this that picture out to a virtual sphere, and as the wheel rotates around, it's going to stay locked solid, so it'll just be making pretend reflections in there. And there's all these different types of environment mapping: cylindrical, shrink wrap, or screen. This is the most common, spherical, and you use it 90% of the time. So we can get into these in a later sort of session, but spherical for the basics right now, 90% of the time you're good. Alright, so now that's going to be in as our reflection map, and you can change the amount of reflectivity down a little bit. For something like chrome, though, you want it pretty much all the way up. So this is a good chrome shader. Low diffuse, high reflection, sharp spec. Okay, and now rendering that, we get chrome. Okay, chrome and on our wheel there. So now, pretty much, I think that's it. All we need to do is take this, hold down Shift, be in the move mode, hold down Shift, and clone it out. Although I didn't pick the whole thing, I need to pick the group, hold down Shift, move it, and clone that wheel. And I'll do an instance so that if I make changes to it, it'll update, although the materials won't necessarily. Now the materials will update because I have made an initial assignment, and so now they will. But I'm going to pick the other one, go out like this, move that over, hit instance again, and then I can rotate these around. Angle snap is on, so I know I just do 180, come on, there we go, 180, and then move them in just a touch, and there we go.